Welcome back to Rivals of the East. I'm your host, Buzz, with co-host Sean. And Sean, what's going on, man?
you know, just waiting for the actual movement to happen. Where's DeAndre Hopkins? What
DeAndre
is Tua
Hopkins.
doing?
What's
More
Tua
headset
doing?
cam fam?
Tua. Why do we always got to talk about Tua? I'm tired of talking about Tua. He isn't doing anything right now.
Tua's the guy. Super Bowl guy,
Uh,
I heard.
please stop. You're going to get everybody riled up already. We're not even 2 minutes in. Anyways, yeah, it's been a little bit. We've had some news that has popped up, and we'll get to that today. Obviously, like you mentioned, Sean, DeAndre Hopkins, obviously the hottest free agent out there, arguably, outside of Dalvin Cook, who we'll also talk about. But he's been getting pretty friendly over there in New England. What was it? Matthew Judon took a Instagram story with him, put it out
Yes,
there.
this is correct. He said La Familia, but let's be honest, he's gonna do whatever he can to get his name out there because I feel like the Patriots, what, in the past 10 years it's been, if you can go reportedly this player met with the Patriots, teams and coaches go, well, Bill Belichick likes him. I think that's my guy. And
I
I
see.
think they might be using that to drive up price points. But in this scenario, I don't discount that actually. I think DeAndre Hopkins is looking out best for DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, he may have squashed his Bill O'Brien beef. He said it wasn't beef, but we know how that works. Money talks. That's what he's looking for. Patriots just freed up some cap space, signing an extension for Devontae Parker, 3 years, 11 million each year, so 33 million. But
Wow.
let's be honest, we know how that works. It's heavy incentive laden. All it meant essentially is they took 2 mil off the cap essentially now, convert it to incentives now. So he can make 9 million or he can make 14 million. But
Mm.
they're willing to roll the dice on that. And the agent went, well, if it means you getting that money down the road, we're going to take that option now. So that's basically what they came to agreements with. And shortly after there, you also had Jawan Bentley also signing an extension. Don't have those numbers for you now, but the Patriots are doing a little cap movement, and I think essentially none of that in the long run has anything to do with signing Hopkins, not signing Hopkins. If anything, it just means they're ready to spend money because Patriots typically don't roll over heavy cap space. They usually end up with 2 to 3 mil at the end of the year at most. So the fact that they're at like 16.8 right now is that's a lot right now.
That is quite a bit, considering I think, from what I know, the Jets have one of the only other teams I think that have more at 23 mil. But what do you think? Okay, let's play hypothetical here. Obviously, Bill
Okay.
is a cheapskate. So if
Is
you're
is he though?
he
Because
is.
so here, let me. I just want to put this out there, not to insert too early, but so this is the second time Robert Kraft has come out and said spending isn't an issue. He literally just said it 2 days ago, yet again. He said spending isn't an issue. I'm not sure I'm buying that. It's because here's the thing. If you're telling me Bill Belichick, who let Jamie Collins, Malcolm Butler, Chandler Jones, it wasn't about money. Here we are in a similar situation defensively. Patriots are reloading. Got Kyle Duggar. He signed the cheap linebacker, Jawan Bentley. Christian Barmore is around the corner. You got Mac Jones, Jonathan Jones. He just keeps stringing them along with these 2, 3 years, but we know the next year kind of really isn't guaranteed because if you fully front it guaranteed, you're not really saying you're going to be around for another 2, 3 years. It's something he's consistently doing. He paid Hightower when it came, let Collins go. He didn't pay Chandler Jones. He let him go. These are the draft picks. It's got them in the draft kind of hole right now. And I think this is a similar situation that we're seeing play over again. So it's a little confusing because I can't recall the last time they've been in a similar cap situation with this much money going into a season, which begs me to ask, not who, because they will sign people, but how many?
Well, listen, my thing is, I was going to ask this because, again, Bill is cheap. I stand by that.
He isn't, but
Okay. Agree to disagree.
this is what I'll say. It's called a pecking order. And for the longest time, it was Tom Brady could have asked for 45 mil. He took the 28 and he went, well, I'm not going to pay anyone more than this guy. And how many times did the Patriots draft stars that deserve more
Okay.
money than Tom?
Okay.
Tell me that.
But here's the issue. Here's the issue. You're saying, okay, Tom Brady, all right? Tom Brady
Correct.
was not going to say, I want money over rings. He wanted rings over money. That's great.
I mean,
Okay, I understand that. But Bill doesn't have that. He doesn't have that anymore. They have all this
now,
money. They have all this money. They've barely spent any money really when it comes down to it. They've, yeah, done a couple
except for
years.
2 years ago.
Guys. Well, here's the thing. 2 years ago, he spent money. And then how many players are still here that he spent money on?
Actually, you're making my point.
But what I'm saying is that, no, you're not hearing me. I'm saying that I don't know that he would go down that road. And I think he'll go back to being cheap with DeAndre Hopkins. And I don't know if you're Bill, how you could persuade DeAndre Hopkins to sign for less money because you don't have Tom Brady there or anything.
See, here's the thing. I don't think it's less money. I think he's in a similar ballpark as the Titans. So the Titans are vying for a 3 different quarterback situation. Okay. That's apparently the top prospect, right?
Titans
which is pretty embarrassing.
For a quarterback situation? No, who's the quarterback?
No, but that's that. See, let me elaborate here. They don't know who the starter is. They're saying it's Ryan Tannehill. They had Malik Willis. Okay. Didn't really pass great. He did do some things. They did some things, if you want to call it that.
Did he ever throw for more than 100 yards in a game?
Then they just drafted Will Levis. So you tell me this. If it's between a team telling you, I'm willing to pay you $3 million more than the Patriots, we don't know who our quarterback is. It's not a Hall of Fame coach. It's not the best franchise. And you're basically the best player outside of Derrick Henry on our entire offense.
But what if they also said we've been to the playoffs and won more playoff games in the last 3 years than the Patriots?
I'd go. And that's done what?
I'm just saying, like, they're going to try and sweeten this up. So you think Hopkins, okay, realistically.
I'm just saying 3 quarterbacks that you could equally say have a choice. I don't like that as a wide receiver. Well, I mean, this is a guy that came out of Houston.
Ryan Tannehill's a better quarterback than Mac Jones.
Do you think Ryan Tannehill likes football more than Mac Jones?
It doesn't matter. You can movies and be a terrible actor.
Time out here. Time out here. The guy that shat for the better part of 6 years on Ryan Tannehill, that guy loves football.
Listen, I'm just saying.
What did DeAndre Hopkins say? He did not say he wanted a Hall of Fame quarterback. He didn't even say he wanted a good quarterback. He said he wanted a quarterback who loved the game. When's the last time you saw Ryan Tannehill kick a player in the nuts?
Listen, he's gone to therapy, so he knows how to control himself. He knows how to control himself.
He doesn't even know how to be a human being less than be a quarterback.
Ryan Tannehill is a saint.
Our conversation, I feel like, starting to
Listen, I'm just saying, numbers don't lie, dude. Ryan Tannehill had even a better season last year than Mac Jones, and that's sad. In the
Even
year before
Tua,
that,
even Tua, but Tua's going to lead you guys to the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna listen to every
listen,
hyperbole that comes out there, huh? Hmm?
listen.
Yeah,
You always want to throw Tua in here. Let me get through week 5 of the season to
because
see if he's
be,
still breathing. Because
because we're talking about now. We're not talking about Ryan Tannehill two
I'm just
years ago
saying,
when he brought him into the playoffs and threw 3 interceptions.
he had the flu last year.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
Give the
yeah.
man a
So
break.
so he came out and played like Michael Jordan and led them to the championship, right?
Well, first of all, if you watch The Last Dance, Michael Jordan said it was food poisoning. Whole different thing.
That
Flu is a
causes
lot
fevers
worse.
potentially. I'm pretty sure that's in
It
there.
was bad pizza from Salt Lake City. He believes was food poison on purpose.
Salt Lake
And he
City.
took that.
Get out of here.
He said it. So I think that Ryan Tannehill was
And he hangs out
battling.
with Tom Brady, so we should believe everything Tom Brady says.
Hey, isn't Tom Brady about to date Kim Kardashian?
I did hear the reports.
What the hell is going on with Tom Brady? Like he's just Florida manning
He,
it up. He's
yeah,
out there in
I was just
Vegas.
about to go there. Florida man, he's feeling a little risque. Who knows?
She could be a good mom to my kids. Right. That's what he's saying, right? Regardless, I don't really care. Tom's out of the picture. Now he's a minority owner. And
Is he out of the picture?
well, Tom's a minority now. Minority
Hey,
owner.
just a random little fact I'm gonna put out there that
Yeah.
apparently one of his contractual investments he made with some of his money went directly to a certain electric currency, let's just say. He lost $30 million because the investment finally claimed bankruptcy.
Did he lose 30 million on FTX?
Yes.
Well, lo and
Me too,
behold,
right? Me too, right?
wasn't that like what 1 year with Tampa?
No, I was about to say this. No. Here, let me tell you that. That was one of his Stenson Cologne contracts that he signed 10 years ago. There you go.
Man,
You're welcome. In
hope you can.
fact, he's making money off Giselle from alimony, if anything. Well, let's be honest. She made more money, so if anyone's making money, it's probably him.
If any dad was gonna win custody and child support, it would be Tom Brady.
It would be Tom Brady.
Yeah, it would.
It would. So anyhow, as you were
Anyways,
saying,
speaking of
Bill
one,
Belichick's a cheapsteak.
yeah,
Huh?
well, he's not a cheesesteak. He's a cheapskate. And I want to say this that I do think that DeAndre Hopkins will be a New England Patriot. I do believe that. The only way that I could see him not being a Patriot is if the Jets came in with as much money as they could, but they're not going to. I think the Jets are going to get Dalvin Cook personally. Now speaking of, when we talk about DeAndre Hopkins, the 4th of July was recently, and it came out the day after. A lot of reports linking DeAndre Hopkins to the Patriots, which we knew, but also Dalvin Cook. Is that a scenario for the Patriots and old cheapskate Bill? Are they willing to pony up and go name brand instead of great value and actually get both guys? You think they're clearing a little cap? I don't know. What do you think? What's going on over there in Boston?
Cheap cheese. It's all cheesecake. I don't even know what's going on here. Rich white men making decisions here. Bill Belichick, I'm just gonna say, if he literally lets that guy walk for money, like
He
just
did hire Matt Patricia, so he's not immune to bad decisions.
this is, I mean, that's actually that is one of the few comments I will actually go, you're right. Anyhow,
That and Ryan Tannehill's a better quarterback than Mac Jones. I'm glad we can agree,
I mean, he is.
bar none. Top 5 all time.
He said it, not me. So yes, if he lets
Anyways,
him walk for not paying, 16
yeah,
16 mil guaranteed and just like kind of letting it go, and then you go, well, yeah, he's making like 13 a year or whatever, because
yeah,
it's a bunch of bull crap, caps crap.
it's not real.
Yeah, that's an issue. Now, Dalvin Cook, they have a need for probably a running back unless they do feel that confident in either Kevin Harris or what's his
Pierre
name?
Strong.
Pierre Strong. Thank you. I just I'm not really sure because it's a consistent thing the Patriots do. They don't pay running backs as free agents, unless that actually did per se have a sway in. They're sitting here looking at the situation. They go, we ran Ramondre Stevenson into the ground where we went. He caught 69 passes, which is kind of unheard of for a running back.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had 1,000 yards and he averaged 5 yards a carry. I'm like, that might be asking a little too much when you don't have that secondary guy that Damian Harris was if he stayed healthy.
Right.
Now, Dalvin Cook has had some injury issues recently. I think as a 1-2, him being actually the second, it makes sense. But when you're trying to convince yourself, I'm going to pay this older running back who doesn't average more yards than you, and I'm going to do that,
Well,
doesn't really
I'm
make sense.
I'm more along the lines of Bill has never really paid a running back, so there's your
No,
answer
and
for that.
well, yeah, what is it? We talked about that. Curtis Martin, he paid
Yeah,
money, and that was like chump change. A million years ago, like just before I was
almost.
born, something like that.
Right before the dinosaurs, Curtis Martin was running around in a Patriots
It's
jersey. Yeah, something like
great
that.
player, Jets running back, crazy stuff like
Him
that.
and Vinny Testaverde. Yeah, I'll give them their
Vinny
due.
Testaverde, how dare you?
Hey, listen, leave the Vinny test alone. But I do believe Dalvin Cook is not going to the Patriots, but
Yeah,
DeAndre
I'm
Hopkins will go.
confident in that.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Now, I will say, speaking of Dalvin Cook real quick, stop stop it, everybody. Stop saying Dalvin Cook's coming to Miami. Stop trying to do this. Stop fanning the flames. Or his agent put the story on into the newest thing now. The newest thing is his agent puts a story on Instagram that says Miami, Florida, and it has looking eyes. I'm like, y'all, he's using us for leverage. We don't have money.
Sound familiar?
We don't have money. We have IOUs. You ever seen that in Dumb and Dumber? Like, that's as good as cash. Those are IOUs. That's how I feel half the time when I look at Chris Greer just like throwing out credit cards. Like, hey, Papa Ross, can we get another credit card? Yeah, here you go. Just spend it on whatever you kids like. I mean, we still have the issue with Connor Williams. He's not back. We have Christian Wilkins, who we still haven't come to a deal with. We have Zach Seiler, who wants more money now and wants a deal. We've got issues that we have to address when it comes to money, and we can't afford Dalvin Cook right now. We just can't. Not to mention, like our whole team is predicated and built on fractured vertebrae. Like, I mean, everybody is injury prone just about. And, when most of your best players are going to be injury prone, you're going to have insurance policies. That's why we paid Mike White.
Yeah.
That's why we paid some of these other players as well. Like, and we kept the money in the tank and reserve for tackles. Teron Armstead goes down. We got to move people around. Liam Eichenberg is playing center now. Like, God only knows how wonderful that is. I haven't heard anything good
It's
out
like
of
you've
camp.
said a million times. It's just
So we
top
can't.
heavy team, and we need to fill out the rest. And signing a running back is the least of their issues.
That's not Super Bowl,
No,
especially when
I
you have a
agree.
coach that doesn't run the ball.
Can you just
So,
get your star receiver you paid a crap ton of money for back? Can we just ask for that?
oh yeah, let's talk about that, Sean. So
Mhm.
recently, of course, Tyreek Hill made some headlines because, well, let's just say that old habits die hard. Earlier, a few weeks ago, it came out into the news that Tyreek Hill was actually in trouble with the law under an investigation for assault. All right. So, story goes, and I've got an article from Sports Illustrated I'll read here. But the story goes to catch everybody up if you haven't heard. Tyreek goes to a marina, South Florida, with a couple of his friends. The story came out that he was trying to go onto a boat that wasn't his. A marina worker tried to stop him and he slapped him in the back of the head. and then the marina worker just left and called the cops. That's initially how it came out. Then it came out that Tyreek Hill said, "Do you know who I am? I'm number 10 on the Dolphins. I could buy you and this boat." And everything else happened. Then another report came out that said Tyreek Hill said those same things and slapped him, and then initially tried to charge the guy and was held back. And he ran into the office and he called the cops, but there were no charges that were filed at that time. Well, we have an update. Okay. So, according to Sports Illustrated, on the latest update, one of the newest updates that we have here from recently, the NFL reportedly has requested the video footage of the incident Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill was part of, where he allegedly assaulted an employee of a marina and is seeking interviews with every officer and detective. While both were expected as part of the ongoing NFL's investigation, which could lead to Hill being fined or suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy, South Florida radio host Andy Slater was the first to report that the formal requests have been made. I do want to talk, though, as well as we look back at Tyreek's history. There was another article, and I do want to share this, that was not in that Sports Illustrated article, but another one. John, we were just talking about this. So it wasn't a marina worker, by the way. It was a captain, a marina captain. And it wasn't a young man. It was a 57-year-old marina captain man. So Tyreek Hill, on this video allegedly that's out there, assaulted a 57-year-old marina captain for not letting him on the boat.
So at that, I'm gonna put out, you did say allegedly on video. It is actually said by the NFL, because it is part of the NFL's investigation, that it will be released at some point. So there it is.
It will be released at some point. This
Because
is going
that
to
is
be
public knowledge. That is what they said.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. When we look at the background of Tyreek Hill. Now, listen, Tyreek Hill. I don't want to hear anybody play, Mr. Halo effect here. Tyreek Hill pled guilty to beating and strangling his pregnant girlfriend. That's a fact. Tyreek Hill admitted and was guilty of that. He was also involved in another situation a few years back where there was potential abuse, that he was abusing his son, like physical abuse, like assault. That was denied. The case was dropped. But now we have a third instance where he's involved with an assault allegation. Not something different.
Evidence, video.
Third time with video, assaulting
Correct.
a 57-year-old boat captain at a marina while doing all kinds of things that just don't look good. Oh, and here's the kicker. He says to the guy, and listen, I'm a Miami Dolphin fan, but I'm going to call a spade, all right? Tyreek Hill is a scumbag, all right? Doing this kind of stuff, that's scumbag stuff. And he says, I could buy you and this marina or this boat. You know what he tries to bribe him with? $200.
If that's actually the case, he wouldn't have offered anything, because the fact that he sat there and did that, like you previously said, and I also agreed with, that's admitting fault. And if you're gonna sit here and threaten someone, I can buy everything you have, and then turn around and flip it. $200.
$200.
You just told this man, I have money, but I'm gonna give you 200. I'm sorry. You hit me in the back of the head or something like that, and I know you're from money. It better be over 20,000. Let's just say that.
Here's, especially if you're number 10 on the Dolphins, like, come on, man. Like, no state income tax.
10.
Listen, here's my bold prediction.
I'm the better player than anyone else on this team.
Listen, here's my bold prediction. If the video shows exactly what we just talked about, which apparently it does, okay, and it's a situation where he really does assault this 57-year-old boat captain and tries to go after him and chase him, but is held back and is yelling at him, okay? If this stuff comes out and the NFL does an investigation, it doesn't even matter if it doesn't look like the worst thing ever. They're gonna suspend him
Yeah,
because this is his third time
this
doing it
between the
or
comment that he
involvement.
said, video, bribing, touching a man, like any one of those things, you prove any two of those combinations, he's suspended. Like,
Yeah. Now the question becomes, this is where folks can argue and debate how many games does he get suspended. I do believe that he's going to be suspended. You know, the NFL does this, right? They do it with everybody. They're going to give a pretty hefty game suspension. And he'll
yep,
probably say like
I'll make
10
it top
games.
heavy. Yeah,
10 games. Then he will appeal, and then they will come back down and say probably about
the
6
amount we were
games.
going to give you anyways, but we wanted to put out the kind of mantra where, oh, we care. This is a league that cares, that the league that cares about concussions, its players, and all genders, sexes, religions want to keep it that kind of way. So yeah, I get it. It's a very frontal approach. You just wanted to make it look pretty, but let's be honest.
Pretty
Star
much.
player making big money. People want to watch the game. It's Tyreek Hill.
Ratings, all that
I've
stuff.
consistently looked, and we talked about this, is a lot of these situations where in any way, shape, or form, which, I mean, wasn't Kareem Hunt kind of in a similar situation, led to his release? But it wasn't even directly correlated or proven. The fact that it was stated, a lot of teams remove these players unless they hear directly that there's a chance they could win it.
Yeah.
But in this chance, they go, well, if it's only going to be 6 games, are you going to really release me for that? Because I sell your tickets for your team. And I think in this case, that actually works for Tyreek Hill. And
And the
I
money
think a Dolphins
situation.
team that is very, very desperate for his actual work. It has consistently been, if you've been inferred 2 times in any conduct, especially violence, there's a list, a laundry list. There's Adrian Peterson, Ray Rice, Kareem Hunt. Like you just go down the list. Greg Hardy. 6 games is very consistent with this claim. And I think, like Buzz said, it could be 8, 10 games they initially come in with, and then kind of lessen it after they're met with an arbitration, and then they go, come on, we're both here trying to make money. Okay, 6.
Listen, I'm going to flat out say it. If Tyreek suspended 6 games, season's over. Season's
You
over.
guys are in critical limit. Let's just say that.
Because we have the second toughest schedule in the NFL. We have some very hard road games. Even in the first half of those first 6 games, Sean, you and I looked at it. We got New England on the road in a game that they're going to play hard on a Sunday Night Football. We've got the Chargers on the road to start.
Early. Yep.
Yeah, we've got the Bills we're playing, I think, potentially. I know for a fact we've got a Denver team that's got Sean Payton. Now, could go either way. We don't know what Denver's going to be like, but Sean Payton, I trust him as a head coach. He won't make it easy. We've got other games like the Eagles. I mean, come on. What are you going to do? We're going against the Eagles, Tyreek Hill. So your 1-2 is going to be Jalen Waddle, who I love, by the way. Great receiver. But let's face facts. It's Jalen Waddle and who? Jalen Waddle. And we have no threat at
Cedric
tight end.
Wilson, Chosen Anderson. Like,
It would be Chosen
Anderson, which I agree with.
It would be Chosen Anderson. I know he's having some struggles in camp right now, but they'll cut Braylon Sanders before they cut Chosen Anderson. Trust me. So they're going to need
will be the
experience.
number one in the de facto role. Let's say Tyreek Hill goes. Chosen Anderson, I think just because he's a veteran.
Yep.
And honestly, he kind of fits the slender role. I think it makes sense that he's a second or a slot.
Yeah.
And then that means, I don't know, your boy Cedric Wilson, he got paid to do what? Times now.
He will get more than 6 catches this year.
Well, that's a guaranteed. I wish I could get paid his salary to catch what he caught. Let's
Me
just say
too,
that.
man. It's just
I'd take a helmet to the rib cage. I mean, I take that for less, apparently. I take that less in any situation I've ever worked in.
well, it's nice to know that. Yeah, maybe if the Patriots are that desperate for short slot white receivers, they'll give you a call.
Hey,
But yeah, so that's Tyreek Hill's situation. The investigation's still ongoing. Of course, Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are like Tyreek Hill. Oh, yeah. Anyways, moving on. That's usually the response. When Chris Greer was asked about what do you think about Tyreek Hill's situation? Did you look into his background? And of course, Chris Greer said, we were proud of the due diligence that we did in looking into his background, aka we needed this guy. And we said, has it been a few years? All right, let's go. That's what
you
that
just
means.
tell me a time that a person went questionable background, and I went, yeah, no big deal. You tell me that time.
Uh, you know, like you go into signing Tyreek Hill. Now listen, again, Tyreek Hill is a phenomenal football player. This is not about his ability to play the game at all. He's a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL, of course.
Here's an example right here. Bill came in and said, Aaron Hernandez, yeah, he was going to kill people. I mean, but I had a good 3 years out of him. So,
Oh God, Urban Myers. Yeah, there were some problems. Yeah,
he's like
some.
Tim Tebow.
Tim, I need you to straighten this guy out. He's
Tim?
threatened to kill people. Yeah, you'll reach him. You
Yeah,
guys
he
are cool.
threatened Wes Welker. Wes Welker, what?
Hey, is you know any college girls? What coach? Nothing. But I look at it and it's just like this happens all across the league. But here's what people got to understand: like, it doesn't matter if it's your team. You got to call it what it is. Tyreek Hill is going to get suspended, and I think it's going to be a large amount of games. Then they'll come down. I personally think it'll be 6 games he gets suspended. I'll be shocked if it's 4. I will be shocked if it's 4. The only way I think it's 4 is if it's really something that is not egregious.
There's evidence that rolls it back from the allegations. Let's say they go,
Right.
slapped, and the guy just like threw himself down, and then you saw Tyreek Hill going like
He pulled a
that
Chris
or
Bosh
something like
flop.
that. Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong there. I've seen that, but
Listen, he's the best.
LeBron James, cramp.
Yeah, maybe they could pull that timeout, timeout, like the
Yeah.
whole Bills team in Miami last year. But I don't know, man. I just look at it. I'm like, of course this would have to happen. It was too quiet of an off season, and then everything else starts coming up. Like everybody starts saying, "I want my money. I want my money." Well, we can't really pay you. And then there's Chris Greer like, "Don't worry, we'll get it to you." It's like, with what? I don't know. I mean, they pay guys a lot of money to push numbers around. Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs, but I can clearly look at Sport Track and I can clearly see like, hey, we don't have a whole lot of money. I mean, that's just reality.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
we,
yeah.
I don't know who.
See, I also want to just remind people when you're talking about money, and we look at the cap a lot and we go, well, it's the cap. The cap, yes, can be manipulated, but at the end of the day, typical owners, when they sit there and they look at it and they go, this is the cap, but everything they front money to cut that money from the cap so they have more cushion to make moves. Let's say after injuries later in the year, someone didn't work out and they're like, crap, I'm gonna have to absorb that because I want to remove him. They have to pay that out of pocket. That's not accounting to the cap. So let's say you re-sign a player. I'm going to take majority of that contract out of a year that would have been in the previous extension or a contract and make it an extension. They're absorbing that out of their actual wallet then as just paying it in the long run, which would have affected the cap. If you move it to a bonus now or a signing, like they always have a different, it's a signing bonus, it's a training camp cut, it's a post-June block, like it's always something. Playtime likely to make incentives, like those exist for a reason. When a guy is like, you can make 11 mil, I didn't say it was likely made incentives. If you look at the track history, you could see that players are likely or not likely to receive them. So that actually matters. There's a difference between the cap into what an owner is willing to pay out of pocket. If you want to manipulate the cap, the owner's paying the price. They're paying the money earlier than they would have previously. So that's why that matters. Not all owners are willing to do that. Saints, Chiefs, the Bills currently. These are a lot of teams that, is kicking the can, and you're like, how are they? You guys were 21 mil negative. How did you manage that? Well, a lot of those players, we either manipulated it because currently in the contract it was, well, we said they could have made that. They weren't likely to receive that financial because it was in the contract. They could have made that. They're not going to, and we know that.
Yeah.
Or we're just going to cut them before that money comes time. My favorite.
That's always, that's always a big one. I mean, realistically, again, the Tyreek Hill situation. Taysom Hill, get that man out of here. I think Tyreek Hill's situation, it is what it is. He will probably get suspended. We have a tough schedule. Yeah.
Yes, you guys do.
I don't feel comfortable about that at all. I mean,
Yeah.
New England's right there, top 5 as well. The whole AFC East is in it.
It's honestly, it's probably the most competitive division.
I would say so. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is with the Jets, with a very solid team around him. The Patriots, if you guys pick up DeAndre Hopkins,
they're just annoying. Let's be honest.
If you pick up DeAndre Hopkins, there's some level of consistency, at least for wide receiver, opposite of Devontae Parker.
It puts people where they belong. Let's just say that.
The Bills, the Bills are going to win probably 10 games, but I think it's going to be 10 games where you're like, are they
good
really
quarterback, solid coach? You got a star or two. Defense, hit or miss.
Defense is going to go down. It's going to go down. And in fact, the saving grace for them last year was turnovers. That's really was their saving grace. So to me, here's an interesting fact, Sean. I did the research. Do you know what Miami's points per game on offense was last year?
No. 26?
23.3.
Oh.
Do you know what they gave up on average on defense?
21?
23.4.
Oh, shit. So, can't turn over the ball pretty much.
So that was Miami's problem. And sure enough, we finished 9-9.
That kind of, wow, weird.
So,
makes sense.
Exactly. So when you're looking at these teams, again, I give the Miami example for a reason. Like, that's our team because Vic Fangio isn't going to fix the defense in one season. In fact, he came out and said on record, I like some of the talent we've got. Other areas, we still got to work on it. So he's not entirely thrilled with what they have. He needs more pieces because they run a ton of cover 8, right? That's Vic Fangio's thing is cover 8. We don't have linebackers that can run cover 8. So he's, linebacking is weak. He's got his defensive backs. We converted Brandon Jones from corner to safety, moving some pieces around. But this team is going to have to get turnovers in order to survive this season. That's the story. With as tough as schedules we've got, without Tyreek, man, that's just very tall and difficult to do. It's a very tall task. So when people say, don't overreact, it's going to be fine. Tua's going to still sling it for 400 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I get the same crap. Mac Jones is going to throw 4,400 yards, 39 touchdowns,
when you told
10
me
interceptions.
That, okay,
and that's pretty realistic.
When you told me that, who the hell is saying Mac Jones is throwing for 39 touchdowns?
I'm looking at Bleacher Report, and he has a whole statistical breakdown. And the guy's like, do you realize the Patriots offense would break 2007 records in yardage if they did that? And I was just like,
Mac would
these are the people I'm reading.
Mac would have to throw 2.2 touchdowns per game. per game to reach 39.
And last time I checked, if you didn't know Mac Jones, he throws no touchdowns or 2 touchdowns. It's no in between, no over.
What did he even finish with last year? I'm just curious. Mac Jones
I believe
finished.
it was 14 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Oh, man, elite. Yeah, I mean,
Jeez. Oh, Matt Patricia's like this. That's what I was saying.
see, we got more touchdowns than interceptions, so we should have had more wins than losses. Shut up, Matt. Now he's on the Eagles, isn't he?
He's like this, but the running game. First
Well,
game of the season, Matt Patricia's like this.
that was just such a bad game between the Dolphins and Patriots last year's opener. Just bad.
I mean, yeah, newborn I just brought home. He's screaming. He's fussy. House is being moved and being packed up. And I'm just watching the game and I'm like, oh, I don't like any of this. I don't like any of this.
Mac, we want you to throw a screen behind the line. What? We want you to throw to Pierre Strong, who's going to just roll 5 yards on the ground into the end zone.
No, that's Ty Montgomery.
I'm sorry,
he got
Ty
injured and he scored a touchdown.
The only touchdown you got that game was to the guy who
for the rest of the
he
year.
hurts himself and can't get up, so he's rolling into the end zone to get the touchdown.
And Bill's like this. That's grit. That's grit. We like that here.
Bill's like, why is he not getting up? Oh well. But dude, here's my other thing too. In that game, in fact, forget that game. That last season, how many interceptions?
Forget it. It's gone.
How many turnovers did New England have as a team because of, I don't know, a certain wide receiver? You might know who I'm talking about. Nelson
Aguilar.
I'd
say easy 6. Easy.
Picks and fumbles.
Between picks and I think for a fact, he's had 3 fumbles.
He did have 3 fumbles.
Interceptions, 2.
That's 5 turnovers.
Where it hits him in the hand, goes to clutch it, bounces off his chest. 2 at least. He has contributed. I have remembered seeing 6 times.
Dude,
guess where he is?
Did he get cut?
Yeah, he's gone. Guess where he is?
Who signed him?
Baltimore.
Anyways,
Baltimore.
Nelson Aguilar in that one Miami Dolphins game fumbled the ball and had the same thing bounce right off his chest and go up for an interception in that game. I'd never seen a wide receiver that was so terrible at any type of possession. I was like, what? And then you're sitting there like, get this man off my team. And I think
we got to look back at that. It was like week 2, week 3, and I was like, get him out. I'm done.
You hated him. You hated him and Jonnu Smith. In fact, I'm pretty sure,
and they're both gone.
Correctly, you had a voodoo doll of Jonnu Smith. You kept
Jonnu Smith.
Jonnu's gone, but you already.
I just want to go. You, Mike Vrabel.
What did he have anything to do with this?
He was part of that trade. I think there was backdoor talks, and he's like, Jonnu, he was good at catching touchdowns as me. I've never dropped a touchdown catch in my career. And here comes Jonnu Smith. Oh, he's super athletic. He makes all these receivings at the line of scrimmage, and then fumbles. Or it's called back because of a hold between Trent Brown or Cole Strange. So there it is, folks. You have my whole season wrapped up in about 3 minutes.
It does sum it up, and you're still only 1 game out of the playoffs. How does that happen? I think that's a testament to how bad the AFC was last year.
They weren't bad, Josh Allen.
The only good team in the AFC that proved to be actually 2 teams were the Bengals and the Chiefs, which, by the way, I am curious before we wrap it up here today for this episode. Sean, how much money is Joe Burrow going to get?
280?
280?
290?
How many years?
4. I think it's going to be something where 2 years you're paying ton of money, and then the third one is where it starts to drop off. But it's going to be huge guaranteed money. Huge guaranteed money. It's going to be something like 187, 189.
I could see it. He's arguably the second best quarterback in the NFL, right?
Yeah, no argument.
I think it's clear cut
I
one and
think it's
two.
Patty. I think it's Patty, and then I think it's him. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. Patrick Mahomes proved that last year, and I think bar none, it's not. Outside of Tom Brady when he was playing, there wasn't a question, and I think
Will Pat Mahomes get another ring?
yes,
You think
it'll
so?
be his last one. Yes, that's what I think
You
personally.
think he'll get 3 rings?
Yes,
What happens if he ties Tom Brady?
I don't think that's possible. I really I no, like if you honestly ask me if
Like Jordan.
Andy Reid is on the team for the remainder of Patrick Mahomes' like tenure, or he goes to a essentially near equivalent, which I
Bill.
don't think. No, because I don't think Bill's going to coach that long. I just don't think that's possible. Andy Reid, I think, is his guy, and I don't think Andy Reid's going to be around for another 10 years.
Michael Vick said Andy Reid's the greatest coach of all time.
I mean,
If there's no Bill Belichick, is that argument valid?
I think it's a 1-2. Yes.
Yeah. 1A, 1B?
Yes. Andy Reid has listen, even in his tenure, he actually was just with the Eagles. He had an argument. Does he have the wins? Does he have the playoff wins?
He just didn't have the rings.
He didn't have those. What he had was consistent conference championships consistently in a
Yeah.
very difficult division, which Bill didn't have.
Well,
Bill
if you
didn't
think
have
about it,
that.
we were when we look back at that era, he was always playing a very tough Tampa Bay Bucks team. He was playing in playoffs wise, playing a Bucks team. The Giants were tough.
Giants, the
The
Cowboys,
Cowboys. I
they
mean,
were the only team I think was kind of irrelevant was
Washington.
yeah, like
Yeah, they were like,
but
well,
to be fair, I feel like the Patriots the Jets were a nuisance and for the longest time before that came to era the Bill Belichick era, the Dolphins were the best team in the AFC East for a very long time. The Patriots were a laughingstock. And that's why I think what Andy Reid actually did, I think, is very impressive. Outside of the Super Bowl rings and appearances, Andy Reid, it's no question, no question.
yeah, I would have to agree. Well, with that, everybody, we're going to wrap it up here today. Check us out again everywhere podcasts are available on YouTube. If you like the videos, give a like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be coming back at you with our next one, talking about Madden 24 ratings. Sean, you know it's that time of year and ridiculousness that is Madden. I read an
My
article, by the way.
yeah,
It goes over the list of features. The last paragraph says, okay. The last paragraph says, I want to read this. Hold on. It says right here, with more franchise mode updates being leaked released, Madden players eagerly await what this year has in store after years of neglect. Like, I can't wait to see what they do next after years of neglect. Screw off, EA. Like, we're going to talk about that, though, and we'll dive
they're
into
the
some
Jets.
ratings.
They're the Jets at EA Games.
I just can't get over that. Fans can't wait after years of neglect. Like, bro,
I'm excited.
why you gotta remind me like every time I go, here's my
So
$60.
so if you give me like a hot and ready CC's pizza, that's still an upgrade over what they previously gave me. But
I didn't
here we
make you
are,
draft
guys.
Josh Allen in the fantasy draft for your terrible Chicago Bears team. That was all on you. Which, by the way, after I beat you 79-14, you dumped him and started Joshua Dobbs. And then came to realize after one game, you said, Dobbs isn't so bad. The very next day, you're like, I can't play this game anymore. I said, what happened? You said, this is probably the biggest heaping pile of dog shit I've ever played, and I will never play with Josh Dobbs or Josh Allen, and I'm
But
done.
see, here is the thing, guys. I know we're supposed to be wrapping this up, but he keeps diving into the bullshit here. That is our Madden sequences. I had a long standing, probably like the Patriots, 10 years ago, there was a long stretch where
Oh,
I
here we go.
won playoff and championship games with the worst quarterbacks you can even imagine. For whatever reason, if I get a guy that's in the 70s, bare minimum in 81, 82, I win with them. I play with good quarterbacks. I'm terrible. I don't understand what it is.
Oh,
I'm the underdog, baby.
you and that Cardinals quarterback. What was his name? We just went over this.
How many times we've gone over this 3 times in
I don't
two
even remember
months?
now. I forget his name. Matt Barkley.
It's Matt Barkley.
Yeah, I'll never forget. That was just every time. Like, how do you
Hail
throw a
Mary.
75-yard Hail
Hail
Mary
Mary.
pass perfect on a dime? Matt Barkley. Yeah. Well, all I can say is it seems like the new Madden, there's a few things they added to it, which we'll talk about. It should be interesting. So now you can trade more running backs for first round draft picks as you usually do, which is the Sean way of farming for
The
linemen that don't
Bill.
that
The Bill
that's
way.
let's face facts, Sean. That's your way of farming for linemen that don't pan out. Every single time you're like, I got this defensive lineman who looks like Jabba the Hutt. He's just terrible. I'm like, why do you have him? You're like, he'll pan out. Like, dude, it's 4 years in and he's a 74. Cut ties. Just be done. But I digress. Anyways, thanks for listening to the show, everybody. Catch us out on YouTube, wherever podcasts are available, and we'll see you next time. Adios.